the first few minutes. It did. I had to play along for a little bit, and I thought I was playing along. Unfortunately, I was involved in a prank, so that's not going to happen again tonight. I'm sorry, Jason. All right. Richard Ashley, great question. We're going to hold that one to the side. Can we put that one in the queue? Let me see. Awesome. So we're gonna get to that one later. 15 seconds to showtime, guys. I'm gonna take one more sip of my nice beverage. Mom, don't laugh at him. That just encourages him. Tonight, we bring you guys a first for us, as promised earlier in the year. We're going to be looking to include Disney and Norwegian Cruise Line in our lineup, and tonight, we're going to be taking a look at NCL. As usual, we have the latest cruise news, and of course, our photo of the week. Plus, I'll be taking a look at the history of the Mediterranean Sea. All this and much, much more coming right at you, only here on CruiseWeek.tv Live. Our show this week is brought to you by the folks at Good Memories Travel and by vMix. Welcome to the show, everyone old and new. I'm Joe, and this show is about helping you learn and get the most out of your cruise. For those that don't know, I'm a relatively new cruiser, and I don't know a lot about cruising. I really don't have a lot of cruising experience at all. But what we do here is bring on expert guests and allow myself and you guys to ask them your questions so that we can all learn tips and tricks together. My guest tonight has worked with NCL since 2016 and, of course, has been on many cruises herself, 21 to be exact, with NCL. So we'll get to compare the similarities and differences between the lines and find out the hidden secrets and must-knows when you're cruising on Norwegian Cruise Lines. If you guys have any questions that you'd like answered about that, about Norwegian Cruise Lines in the show, please leave them in the comments box on Facebook or YouTube, and we're going to get to them and get to Cindy a little later on. However, before we get to Cindy, let's take a look first at our photo of the week. Now, since we have our NCL flavor in tonight's show, we thought it was only fitting to ask one of the NCL groups to post their photos. So we reached out to the Norwegian Cruise Line, where Latitudes Change Attitudes group, asking for their best photo, and we picked this one, sent in by Raman Westbrook, taken on the ship, with the captain receiving a kiss on the cheeks from both Mr. and Mrs. Westbrook. I wonder if this is because the captain might have just given them a free upgrade, which, in my opinion, would have totally been worth it. Remember, guys, we pick a new Facebook group every week and ask people to send in their best photos, and we pick the best one to feature on here. So keep your eyes open on the Facebook groups, and next week, the photo of the week could be yours. The Norwegian Bliss is still being finished, but the cruise line is already talking about their next new ship. The ship will be called the Norwegian Encore. The cruise line president, Andy Stewart, revealed Wednesday at a steel cutting at Meyerwerf Shipyard in Papenburg, Germany. With international media, Norwegian executives, and hull artist Weiland in attendance, Norwegian cut steel for the Norwegian Encore, which will home port in Miami beginning in fall of 2019. At the ceremony, Stewart and a handful of Meyerwerf executives pushed the start button to the laser cutting of the first steel plate and said the ship would be ready to float out by May 2019. Norwegian Encore is the fourth ship in the cruise line's Breakaway Plus class, joining Norwegian Escape, Norwegian Joy, and Norwegian Bliss, which is debuting in April. And is there trouble in Cuba as one cruise line pulls their ships out of there? Celestial Cruises is pulling out of Cuba for the rest of the year and next, and they say they'll keep the door open for a return to the island in 2020. The Greek cruise line, which has based Celestial Crystal in Havana seasonally for 5 years, will instead be concentrating on its core area, the Aegean. Celestial was one of the first lines which offered cruises that travel the entire way around Cuba, leaving round trip from Havana. Most major lines just offer a stop in Havana as part of a wider Caribbean itinerary, or just the top ports of Havana, Cienfuegos, and Santiago de Cuba. A spokesperson added, "We are leaving for this summer and next season, but we don't close the door for 2020. It depends on many factors." The main ship to do the Cuba run was the Crystal. This ship has been based in Havana and offers week-long eastbound cruises around the island, stopping in the second city of Santiago, as well as Cienfuegos and Montego Bay, Jamaica. I don't know about you guys, but I hope this is an isolated incident with cruise lines, because I certainly want to get to Cuba sometime soon. I'm sure if you've watched our show before, you know that about Good Memories Travel. Now, when Debbie saw the hard work that we were putting in to bring you guys all the cruise news and information to help others, she wanted to help and support us. Good Memories Travel is a full-service travel agency that offers you cash back and incentives that you won't get booking directly with the cruise lines. So why would you pay more for less? It costs nothing to compare a price and see the superior service and extras you get when you go through Good Memories Travel for your next cruise vacation. They cover all cruise lines, and if you're a new cruiser, they can even suggest the best ship and cruise to suit your cruising style. So give Debbie a call or visit their website today and see how much easier and cheaper it can be. Debbie can be reached directly at 321-338-2953 and, of course, through their website at goodmemoriestravel.com. And thanks so much for your support of CruiseWeek.tv. So our guest tonight is here to talk about all about Norwegian Cruise Line, and as we promised to incorporate other cruise lines into our show and give an overall flavor of all things cruising, we wanted to take a look at the NCL brand and look at some of the differences and features that make it different from Carnival and Royal. Now, Norwegian has been voted for the best cruise line for nightlife and for having solo cabins on their ships. So if you guys have any questions about NCL, please be sure to type them into the chat and we'll have our guest answer them. So let's introduce our guest for the night. Welcome to the show, Cindy. Thank you so much for being here, all the way from Tampa, Florida.
Hello.
Oh goodness, I say that just because it's so nice to have somebody in our neck of the woods. So definitely welcome and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here. So I'd like to just let's jump right into some of our questions for tonight, shall we? Tell me some of the differences about the different classes of Norwegian ships, and what are the differences between the classes of ships?
Well, most of the big ones, like the Breakaway, the Getaway, the Escape, the Bliss, and the Epic, they'll have the most to do on them. They'll have the slides, and some of them have the rope courses. They have mini golf, and those ships will have the solo cabins, along with the Pride of America, that has 4 solo cabins, which makes it nice for anybody that wants to do Hawaii that's solo. The bigger ships hold a lot more passengers, of course, but they don't feel that crowded to me because I've been on the Getaway and the Escape. They have nice features like the waterfront on the Breakaway, Getaway, and Escape. And all of those ships have what we call Spice H2O, which is adult only during the day. And they have Vibe or Posh. The Epic has Posh, and that is an adult-only area that you can buy a weekly pass for. And a lot of those have the very nice thermal spas in them, too.
Very nice. So now I'd like to talk about some of the cabins. Now, there's people like myself that like to sometimes travel alone. Tell me about the solo cabins. Are they easier to book or cheaper to book? And what's the size of those compared to a normal cabin?
The solo cabins on most of the Norwegian ships are 99 square feet. You just have to pay for one person instead of having to pay double. And then you also get to pick one promotion when you book a solo cabin. They have their own, of course, bathroom and shower and a sink, and they have solo lounges, which only the solo cruises can go into, and there would be coffee in there, orange juice, water, snacks. You can have tea, cocoa, and it's a nice place where you can gather for a quiet area away from all the crowds.
Very nice. So now, speaking of cabins, now we had a question come in from Richard Atchley on Facebook. He wants to know what kind of cabins that Norwegian Cruise Lines offers for people with disabilities.
Every ship does have accessible cabins. To get those, you do have to call in, though. They do not come up on the website. So you would have to call into either the access desk or the main number, and then they could pull those up for you. And they can some hold 4 people, some hold 3 people, and they're rolling showers, and they have a lot more room in them so that you can get a wheelchair around them. And the showers are really nice. I've stayed in a couple because that was the last cabin available on the ship. And there's a lot more room. There's a ramp so you can go out on your balcony if you have a balcony one, and you have your roll-in shower, like I said, with a fold-down seat in the ones I've been into. So they're rather nice.
Awesome. So now earlier, after I asked my first question, you had mentioned a little bit about the spa on the ships. Which is one of my favorite things to do. So what amenities do the spas have there, and do they have any special deals that run on embarkation days or port days?
On port days, I've seen them. I don't remember seeing any on embark day or the first day, but I think they do offer those. I'm usually just too busy doing other things to find out about those. But they definitely have special deals for like the port days because they don't, everybody's wanting to get off, but some people want to stay on. And then sometimes they have special deals like you get 5 services for X number of dollars. And then you have the
Excellent.
thermal spa that you could buy a pass for, which you don't get treatments for, but you can go into the thermal spa that's an adult only area.
Marvelous. See, that's the pass that I'd probably be getting going to the spa. So we had another question come in, this one from Charisse Colley on Facebook. She was asking about what class ships and the capacity of passengers that they all hold.
Oh, they range from different sizes. Let me see. The biggest one is actually the Norwegian Escape. It holds W occupancy of 4266 passengers. It has 2,175 staterooms on it. And then multiple dining. They have 3 main dining rooms and then a bunch of specialty restaurants. And that ship happens to have the waterfront along with the breakaway and getaway. So they range from the Haven all the way down to the studio cabins on those big ships.
Very nice. So now you mentioned, you did mention dining rooms. When I think of dining rooms, that brings up another point. I always think of formal nights. Would you tell me a little bit about formal nights on the NCL ships? What the dress codes are on those nights?
We have what we call Norwegian Night Out. You could dress up if you want to, or you don't have to dress up. I have seen cocktail dresses, long formals, tuxes, suits, and I've seen people running around in a pair of shorts. So it's all optional on Norwegian. Usually the Le Bistro and the aft main dining room is a little bit more formal, so you have to wear like long pants. But all the rest of them, you can wear shorts in them, shorts and t-shirts.
Excellent. That's very good to know. I've had this running joke with some of our viewers that I've wanted to see somebody go on the ship on formal night dressed as either a ninja or a zombie. So I haven't seen it yet. I've wanted to see it on the photo of the week, but alas, no luck yet. So we're getting quite a few questions coming in on Facebook right now. The next one I'll take will be from Eric B. He says, he wants to know what you do for NCL.
I am the person that pops up on the website, or I'm one of the people that pop up on a website that says, "Can I help you?" So we're not employees. We're just experienced cruisers, and we answer questions on the Norwegian website to help out anybody that has questions.
Excellent.
There's 14 of us.
Well, that's perfect. It's great that we have you on the show tonight because you're doing a great job so far of answering our questions that are coming in, and we're getting quite a few of them lately. The next one I have is from Mary Willingham. She says they're leaving on the Epic on their first Norwegian cruise in March. Any tips for embarkation day, where to eat, and what to do on that first day?
Oh, that's easy. Have patience, because if you don't get to the port early, you go by booking numbers. But there's a lot of seating, and my suggestion is to find the main dining room that is open. Avoid the buffet at all cost. I head for one of the main dining rooms or O'Sheenan's, which is a bar and grill, and it's a sit-down service.
Excellent. Very good to know. I'm definitely a foodie, so that's good to come across. Now, of course, no, not only am I a foodie though, I do like every now and then when I go on vacation, I like to know about the beverages that are available on the ships. And I heard of something that Norwegian does kind of special called an open bar cruise. Um, what exactly is an open bar cruise, and where can I find this special cruise?
There's two ships that will be doing. Well, there's one ship doing it now. There's another ship that will be start doing it this summer. The Sun, the Norwegian Sun, will go out of Port Canaveral, and it will be doing the Bahama and Cuba, and it will have the open bar. And what it basically is select spirits, and it's an open bar, unlimited. It does not cover bottled water or anything. You know, you can get soda, juice, but not fresh squeezed juice, and you can get alcohol or even virgin cocktails if anybody was interested in that one. Um, and the Sky does it year round from Miami, and the same thing. It's a select spirits, and it's basically an open bar. You can drink to your heart's content.
Well, that's marvelous news. That's great. That's great to know for people that like that. And now also speaking of having an open bar on the ships and then having drinks that on ships, I hear that bringing alcohol on board on Norwegian cruise ships is actually allowed. Is this actually true? And if so, is there like a limit to how much you can bring, or is there a price tag to take bottles on board?
The only thing you can bring on is wine and champagne. You have to pay a corkage fee of $15 for a 750 milliliter bottle, and you can bring as much as you want on. There's no limit to what you could bring on. And if you don't drink it all, the last night you could take your unopened bottles and get a refund of your corkage fee, because they'll collect the corkage fee right after security on the pier. They'll bill it to your cabin.
Awesome. So we got another question in from Richard Atchley. He wants to know if you can tell us about some of the shows that they might have on the ships.
Well, they have they're going to have the Jersey. What is it? Is it Jersey Boys on the Bliss? They got a new one coming up. The big ships will have all the big shows like After Midnight, the Brat Pack, and they also have a place called Headliners that does the comedy shows. They also have dueling or Howl at the Moon, which is a duel and pianos. The smaller ships will have shows also, but they won't have the big comedian area or the dueling pianos. But they do have comedians in the main theater. And the smaller ships, you'll have usually it's a staff show type thing.
Wow. So, like you mentioned, like the different theaters that they all have. How many theaters are on this? Like some of the smaller ships compared to the larger ships?
Well, they all have one main theater, but the bigger ships will also have other areas that there's entertainment in, like the Headliners, which where the comedians and the How at the Moon will be at, and they also have supper shows. They'll have a room where they do like a supper club. On the Escape, they have what they call a supper club, where you have a meal, you have to pay for it, and they'll have different shows in there. Like there was a singer in there, and there was a juggler in there one time when I was on the ship.
Wow, that's that's pretty impressive. So,
Oh yeah,
like
there's a lot of different places to go to have entertainment.
that's excellent. That's good. That's really good to know. Um, so now we have Cheryl Spivey on Facebook was asking this question. She wants to know: is there priority boarding? Is priority boarding available? Like faster to the fun on Carnival ships is available.
Not the same. On Norwegian, the Haven or Penthouse suites will be taken on board first, and then sometimes they take the people that need more time, like the disabled or the ones that are with a cane or in a wheelchair. And then they start taking the ambassadors, the Platinum Plus, and the Platinum people. And then Casino at Seas will go, and then they go by boarding number.
Very cool. So we have you're quite a popular guest tonight. We got so many questions coming in. A lot of people are very happy with your wealth of knowledge. We have another one from Dawn Ferguson Simonuk, on, I hope I pronounced that right. Forgive me if I didn't, on Facebook. Says she's leaving on NCL Dawn in 3/4, March 4th. So what restaurants are included and what don't you have to pay extra for? And she says thank you in advance.
Okay. On the Dawn, you will have two main dining rooms. You will have O'Sheenan's, and then there's a Asian restaurant that's also complimentary on the Dawn. And then the rest of them, like La Bistro and Cagney's and La Cucina and all them, you'll have to pay for. So you'll have the two main dining rooms, O'Sheenan's, and then the Asian. It's like an Asian fusion, and they got really good hot, hot sour soup. And
Very
she
good.
will enjoy the Dawn because she'll enjoy the Dawn. The Dawn was just refurbished.
We had me at the hot and sour soup part because I've just recently fell in love with hot and sour soup. It used to be like something I never really liked, and then I just now I can't stop eating it. That's excellent. So now earlier you mentioned when we talked about bringing bottles on board, you said that there was a corking fee for wine and champagne, and Rita Tremaine she wants to know what exactly a corking fee is.
It's $15, and that's what Norwegian charges, and you can have it opened anywhere. You can open it in your cabin. You can have it in a restaurant. You can have it by the pool, wherever your little heart desires, but they charge it even if it's a twist top.
So corking fee is a fee for opening the bottle and do you pay that up front before you get on board the ship, or is that
Yeah, they'll charge it to your cabin right after you go through security. It's not so much for opening it; it's just the fee they charge for bringing it on board.
Okay, and then that's refundable if you show them the unopened bottle.
Right. Last night you could, if you don't drink them all up, the last night you could go down and get a refund.
Marvelous. And we have another one on Facebook from, and I'm going to try to pronounce this name right. Forgive me on this one. Hike Tench says they're traveling alone, and he or she wants to talk about cabin options.
If you're a solo cabin, the solo cabins are on the big ships, and you can sometimes get a solo cruiser discount on the smaller ships. I personally prefer to travel in the solo cabins because they have, it's a little bit nicer setup, for solo cruisers because they have a get together every night. They plan on breakfasts together, dinners together, shows together. So you're not totally alone.
Okay. And Bird wanted to clarify too, which ships have the solo cabins?
The Getaway, the Breakaway, the Escape, the Epic, the Bliss, and Pride of America.
Excellent. Well, let me see. We have the menus in the main dining room because we've been talking a lot about food lately, and it's got to be honest, it's kind of making me a little hungry. But now, in the main dining rooms, are the menus in the two main dining rooms the same, or are they different?
They're the same. In all the main dining rooms, they're the same. So you can go to any one of them and eat, including the ones that have 3 on it. They'll all be the same.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good to know too. So another question that came in from Facebook, Leanne Rose says, why is the Sun all-inclusive and other ships are not? And she says, thank you.
I'm not quite sure why Norwegian decided to do that, other than it's a short cruise. It just does Bahamas and Cuba. Now, if you're on the Sun on a longer cruise, then no, it's not an open bar. So you have to look and see which one it is.
Okay. Now, when we talked about shows earlier, because I know we had mentioned something about the shows that they have, the entertainment on the ships. Now, are shows reserved ahead of time like they are on Royal, or is it just like first come first serve seating?
You could do it either way. On the big ships, you reserve them if you want to, or you can do what we call standby. And I've gotten in by standby, and I've also reserved because I'm one of these that doesn't quite want to plan their whole night. So I just sort of go by the seat of my pants. Now, the smaller ships, you do not have to reserve any shows. That's all, just show up.
Excellent. Also, I wanted to give credit. That question came from Stephen Smalt on Facebook. So, Stephen, thank you for that question as well. Um, so, I was told. Let me see. I was told that there's a carpet on the NCL cruises, and I'd like to address this because after I saw the picture of it, it's been bugging me ever since I saw it. So they have this carpet on the cruise ships that has this fish print pattern, and every now and then you see like this red fish that's swimming in the opposite direction. Is there any story behind this red fish swimming in the opposite direction on the carpet print?
Not that I know of. I call it a rebellious fish, but the other ones are definitely facing forward, and believe me, some nights I need that.
Well, I guess having all the other fish in going in the same direction gives kind of a sense of where you are on the ship and which direction that you're moving. So that helps because sometimes those long hallways can get a little bit intimidating.
Yes, most especially on the big ships.
And speaking of those long hallways that you're walking in, when I'm walking back to my cabin, one of the most exciting things that I look for when I get back to my cabin after I've been out all day is a towel animal. Are there towel animals on Norwegian Cruise Line?
Yes, there are towel animals. They'll sometimes use your sunglasses. You'll find them hanging from the ceilings. I've had monkeys that they put grapes as the eyeballs. So yes, there's towel animals on the Norwegian cruise ships. In fact, there's a day where they show you how to make them.
Oh, perfect. See, that was going to be my next question, so you already covered that. I'm glad. Curdog on Periscope asks, which ship would you recommend for people with kids and one for just adults?
If you have little kids, real little, like under 3, I suggest either the Bliss or the Escape because they have what we call a guppies nursery, and you can pay for a drop-off service, and they will watch children that are under 3 years old. All the ships have Splash Academy and Entourage. Now, Splash Academy starts at 3 if you want to leave them, except for the Bliss and the Escape, which has a special nursery that you could pay for a block of time. And I think it runs like, I want to say $24 for like an hour or something like that, or 50 minutes. I don't have kids, so I don't remember the exact price. But for kids, the big ships have the slides. The Norwegian gym does have a smaller slide, and the Dawn does have a kids slide area on the back of the ship, which the kids don't really like. And then for adults only, it depends on what you want to do. I've cruised everything from the Sky all the way up to the Escape, and have found something to do as an adult on every one of them.
So now let's say that I'm traveling alone. I'm a night owl. I like to hit up the nightclubs every now and then. And if I'm on vacation, it's probably going to be a little more frequently. Tell me about the nightclubs that they have on the ships, and which ship has the best nightclubs?
Oh, well, all of them have nightclubs. Some are better than others. I found the one on the Getaway was a little bit different than all the rest of them. The Sky has dazzles that could go into the middle of the night. The Escape has the parties out on Spice H2O that go pretty late, and then they move them inside by the casino, which has another bar that I know they've gone till 2 o'clock in the morning or later. I usually give up about 2 o'clock in the morning.
Well, I hear there's some cruise ships I know that run a little bit later because it's once you're out in the open waters, it's pretty much fair game from what I understand. So now, speaking of, we talked a little bit earlier about the hallways and how they can be sometimes intimidating. And Mary Willingham asks, is there a way? Is it possible that you can decorate your door so you can find your cabin later?
Oh yes, use magnets. Don't use tape or glue or anything. They don't like that. But I do the exact same thing, Mary. I put magnets on my door because I can't find my cabin.
And we have another one question from Richard Ashley on Facebook as well. He wants to know, does Norwegian Cruise Line have any new ports coming up in their itineraries?
Not that I know of right now. Just the standard ones. There's right now they're sort of having to move things around due to the hurricanes. So there's been a lot more western than eastern, of course. I know some of the smaller ships have been able to go to the eastern, where the bigger ships they haven't been able to handle them yet. So I
now,
don't know of any new ports.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. So now would be a good time to ask about the private island that Norwegian owns, Great Stirrup Cay, I believe. Tell me in detail about Norwegian's private island.
Okay, Norwegian's private island, if you're on one of the open bars cruises, or if you have the beverage package, it works on the island. They're working on Great Stirrup Cay. They're building an area for Haven that is going to be a special area for them. They just remodeled all of the cabanas. They look really nice. They're building a zip line. You do have to tender, so sometimes you will miss it. But they have the buffets there, and they have a taco bar. Got to go to the taco bar. They got the best tacos.
And you have no idea how I feel about tacos. No, it's true. It's a true story. I'm telling you what, this diet that I've been on, I think I have self-control, and then Taco Tuesday rolls around, and my self-control just goes all out the window. It's all done after that.
And then there's also multiple bars on the island.
Oh, wow. So speaking of tacos, I have to ask, so what about late night snacks and dining and room service? Is there a charge for room service?
If you're not in a Haven or a Penthouse, you have to pay $7.95. But on most of the ships, there is Oceana's that's open 24/7. So you can go there and get hot wings. The Sky will have the sports bar serves late night bar snacks also, and the Sun will too. So there's somewhere you can find food pretty much 24/7 on the ship.
So you also Bird was talking in my ear just now. He wants to know if room service is $7.95 per item or per order.
Per order.
Per order.
But you can order a continental breakfast and coffee and tea and stuff like that free of charge, no matter what cabin you're in. That's good until about 10 o'clock in the morning.
So I have to ask you now, because I heard you mention hot wings are available 24/7. Are tacos also available 24/7?
I have not seen tacos 24/7. Sorry.
I'm not saying that's not a bad. I like hot wings. It's just I like tacos more. That's like my favorite. So, and actually, I'm not the only one that says this. Even Guy Davis agrees with me. He says that you're talking his language right now too with that. So, Guy, I got to tell you, I agree. It's tacos and wings are my language as well. So, now tell me about earlier in the show. We talked about some of the cruises that you've been on. You've been on 21 NCL cruises since 2012, I believe.
Yes.
2012? Okay. So you've been on 21 cruises since 2012, and one of them was transatlantic. And you said I think 7 of them were open bar. Did you have like a favorite one among the cruises that you've done, or were they all just kind of special in their own way, like snowflakes?
My favorite was two of my favorite was the transatlantics because I got to see Azores and Southern Caribbean. Did St. Thomas, St. Kitts, St. Lucia, Aruba, and Curacao. I would do that again in a heartbeat. I jump on the Sky whenever I need a fill-in cruise. So that's why I have 7 on the Sky.
That's pretty awesome, though. Like, I mean, that's you've been on like 3 times as many cruises as I've been on total, and I still have yet to do an NCL cruise. So, but when I do finally do an NCL cruise, that'll be pretty exciting, I'm sure. Um, so we got a question from Justin Webster. This one's on YouTube. Justin Webster says, "What about Harvest K?"
Harvest K is a joint venture between Norwegian and Belize. It is not their private island, so your drink package will not work there. You will have to purchase all your drink and food, and you will have to bring either cash or credit card. You can't even use your room key. But there is a wonderful pool there that you can walk through the whole thing, and it has a swim up bar. There's a beach there. There's zip lining, and you could do shore excursions and stuff there too.
Excellent. And while you were mentioning that, Christina Hopper Simonetti, I hope I said that name right, wanted to let me know they have nachos and O'Sheehan's 24/7. Is O'Sheehan's one of the restaurants on the ships?
Yeah, that's the complimentary 24/7. So you can't get tacos, but you get nachos.
Well, that's like the second best thing. Nachos aren't that bad. That's like that's like taco in a flatter form, in my opinion. I don't know. It's like a very spread out taco, I think. I don't know. But anyway, that's very good. What about now? We mentioned earlier about Great Stirrup Cay. Are there any special excursions that they have on that on the private island?
They have kayak. They have stand-up paddleboard. They do snorkeling. They have jet skis there. You can rent a cabana, or you can rent a clamshell, or you can just find a nice spot on the, in one of the loungers and with a bucket of beer or well, actually, if you had the drink package, you can only get one at a time, but two at a time, really, and just sit back and relax. But like I said, they're working on zip lining. So that was being built. I was there in December, and they were still building it.
Marvelous, Cindy. You have a wealth of knowledge for cruising Norwegian Cruise Line, and I very much appreciate you being with us tonight. Now we're not I'm probably gonna we're getting close to time here, so I'm gonna wrap it up in the next couple questions or so. But I still have some more questions that people have sent in that I do want to touch on before we do wrap up. Next one that we have comes in from Eric B. He says, seeing it as you've been on other cruises, what brings you to NCL and draws you to work as a contractor for them?
Well, I fell in love with Norwegian. I used to cruise Royal, and then I decided to take my mom on one, and Norwegian offered a better price, so I tried it out and just fell in love. And I'm doing this job because I'm on the cruise ship all the time. And so I like helping people, and because I get beginners that have no clue where to start, and I just sort of walk them through the process and answer their questions so they're not quite so scared when they get on the ship. Because I remember my first cruise, I was scared to death.
All right, excellent. And another one in from Mary Willingham says ours was supposed to be to Tortola and St. Thomas, and we got changed to Jamaica and Grand Cayman after the storms. There's a martial law in part of Jamaica right now. Do you know how safe it is to get off the ship there?
We got off the ship, and they're still doing shore excursions. I would personally stay with a shore excursion through Norwegian there. I did a shore excursion through Norwegian at Grand Caymans too. But we got off the ship and stuck around the port. They have a lot of neat little stores there. But there was shore excursions, and a lot of people did them, and they said they had a blast, and they felt safe.
Very cool. That's excellent to know. Safety is definitely a main concern of probably everyone when they travel, or should be if it's not. And another question that came in from Quandra Smith on Facebook. She wants to know if regular drinks are available 24/7 on the ship.
As long as there's a bar open, and I have heard from people that they can find them in the casino pretty much late night, after midnight into early morning. I'm usually asleep by that time, but and there's also some of the places have wine dispensers, but they're not covered under the beverage package, so you'd have to pay extra for them.
Very cool. Cindy, you've been absolutely awesome. I think we covered just about all the questions that we have from for the most part. We've covered everyone's questions. It looks like. Thank you so much for being on the show tonight. Now, is there anywhere that, like, if anyone has any other questions about Norwegian, is there anywhere they can go to find those answers?
If you come on to the website and wait for one of those little pop-ups, so the people, we're called Chatty Cathy's. You can click on that, and somebody is usually at the other end. I've seen people there at 2:00 in the morning when they couldn't sleep. So you can click on that, and anyone there can answer all your questions.
All right, and I know that was going to be my last question, but we had one pop in last minute here from Donna Rogers. Says she's going to be on the Dawn in 2 weeks. Only Belize for 5 hours. Any excursions in such a short time?
Is she going to Belize or is she going to Harvest Caye?
She says Belize, and she says she's going to be there for 5 hours.
If you're going to the actual main part of Belize, it's the Tindert port, and Norwegian will offer any shore excursions available. Though there, I would also do a shore excursion through Norwegian. If she's going to Harvest Caye, then there's also shore excursions on Harvest Caye.
All right, excellent. So I'm glad we got that question in just in the nick of time. And Cindy, thank you so much for joining us tonight. This has been an awesome interview. You've been a wealth of knowledge, and I'm not the only one that thinks so. You've got a lot of fans that are saying a lot of good things about you in our chat right now. So thank you so much for being on the show with us tonight, Cindy.
You're welcome.
So our cruise show and all the wonderful abilities that we have to bring in guests like Cindy remotely wouldn't be possible at the level that we do it without vMix. vMix is the live production software that powers our live show and many, many other high-end productions, from church services to football games. More and more productions are running on vMix. And what our producer, Bird, really liked when he was trying to improve our show was that they give you a full 60-day trial of everything. That way, you can test it out risk-free before you buy for a full 2 months. And then they have systems starting from just $350 up to $1,500, depending on your production requirements. If you're going to do any sort of serious live streaming, you need vMix. So try it at vmix.com today. So the term Mediterranean derives from the Latin word Mediterraneus, meaning amid the earth or between land, as it is between the continents of Africa, Asia, and Europe. Several ancient civilizations were located around the Mediterranean shores and were greatly influenced by their proximity to the sea. It provided routes for trade, colonization, and war, as well as food for numerous communities throughout the ages. Two of the most notable Mediterranean civilizations in classical antiquity were the Greek city-states and the Phoenicians, both of which extensively colonized on the coastlines of the Mediterranean. Later, when Augustus founded the Roman Empire, the Romans referred to the Mediterranean as Mare Nostrum, which means our sea. The Western Roman Empire collapsed around AD 476. And temporarily, the East was again dominant as Roman power lived on the Byzantine Empire, formed in the 4th century from the eastern half of the Roman Empire. Another power arose in the 7th century, and with the religion of Islam, which soon swept across the East as its greatest extent, the Arab Empire controlled 75% of the Mediterranean region and left a lasting footprint on its eastern and southern shores. Europe started to revive, however, as more organized and centralized states began to form in the later Middle Ages after the Renaissance of the 12th century. The development of oceanic shipping began to affect the entire Mediterranean. Once, most trade between Western Europe and the East had passed through the region, but after the 1490s, the development of a sea route to the Indian Ocean allowed the importation of Asian spices and other goods through the Atlantic ports of Western Europe. Today, Mediterranean cruises are a popular way to see major European and even some African ports, which include, but are not limited to, Athens, Barcelona, Istanbul, Venice, and Rome. And that looks like that brings another show to a close. So guys, if you know someone who's going to enjoy watching the show as much as you do, be nice and share the link to their Facebook wall. That way they too can enjoy. Also, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and Facebook pages, because just doing that alone really helps, and it shows our sponsors the support that we have, and it helps keep the show alive each week. Plus, you get entered into some great cruise swag drawings just for doing so. Anyway, I'm going to be back next week since Matt is going to be taking the week off to go and plant potatoes in Iowa. So I get to do the carnival show with Shally, which I'm totally looking forward to. I'll have a co-host for a week. That'll be awesome. So don't forget that you can see all of our past live shows as well as on-ship interviews and much more at our website, CruiseWeek.tv. Also, you can catch producer Bird and me, actually, usually Matt, but probably this week. Will it be me this Wednesday, Bird? Okay, never mind. It's going to be Matt this Wednesday. Sorry. I had to just check on that. Anyway, it's going to be producer Bird and Matt still on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for their midweek social show on Facebook. Until then, I'm Joe, and we'll see you guys on the ships.